إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Allah reprimanded the children of Israel for lack of khashya. ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الأنهار وإن منها لما يشقق فيخرج منه الماء وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله وما الله بغافل عما تعملون وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله. In fact, just as he described some hearts as being harder than rocks, he informed us how mountains have khashyah of Allah. Mountains have khashyah of Allah. And that khashya that they have, the mountains have, make it crumble. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. Amazing how rocks and stones have khashya and khushu' to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they would crumble because of that. Yet hearts of some of the believers have become harder than that. ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة. The Prophet ﷺ used to cry in khashya, in his salah, and in his night salah. Abu Bakr was known for his crying in his salah. Uthman was known for his beard to soak in his tears at the sight of the graveyard. Al-Hasan al-Basri used to say, a believer combines between iman and khashya. A believer combines between iman and khashya. And a hypocrite combines between wickedness and safety from the plan of Allah. Wickedness and safety from the makra of Allah. أَفَأَمِنُوا مَكْرَ اللَّهِ. Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad said, we used to travel with Ibn al-Mubarak, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, the famous Abid, Zahid, scholar, Mujahid. He said, I would always think to myself, how did Ibn al-Mubarak get the status that he got? That high status, that elevated status, where people began to accept him and love him and take from him the righteousness that he was on. How did people accept him and not us at the same level? What was it that made him special over us? He makes salah, we do the same. This is him saying. Abdullah ibn Mubarak does siyam, so we do. He did jihad, we do the same jihad as he did. And he said, in our journey, as we were resting, the lamp we had went off for a few moments before someone got up and fixed it. He said, moments. Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, who's talking, said, I looked at Abdullah ibn Mubarak and he was crying. That moments right there, the moments of the darkness. A few moments of darkness reminded him of the life after, the grave, the punishment in the grave, and the life after. He began to cry in those little moments. Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad said, I said to myself, the khashya that he has in his heart is that which made him supreme over us. True khashya is your means to guidance. Khashya is a path to guidance. إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخشى إلا الله ولم يخشى إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا مهتدين. Khashya of none of Allah, Allah said at the end of that, those are the true people on the guidance. True khashya brings success and victory. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَخْشَى اللَّهَ وَيَتَّقِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. It's success and victory. Ibn Qudama mentioned that Bishr, before he was guided, before Allah guided him, he was drinking and sinning. A righteous man passed by his house, by Bishr's house. He overheard the sins. He stopped by, he knocked on the door, and the servant of Bishr answered. And Bishr's in there preoccupied with drinking and every other sin. The good man said, does the man who lives in this house, is he a slave or a free man? She said, no, he's a free man. He said, you're right, he's a free man. If he was a slave, he would have had khashya of the one he's a slave for, leaving those prohibitions. Look at that statement. She said, the owner of the house is a free man. He's not a slave. The righteous man responded, he said, you're right. If he was a slave, he would have had khashya to stop him from those sins that he is doing. He meant something deep. Bishr overheard, and he asked the servant, he said, what that stranger, repeat to me what that stranger said. She repeated it. He said, which way did he go? He chased after him, he said, he chased after him with no shoes and nothing on his head. When he caught up to him, he said, you're the one who was by my house? He said, yes. Bishr said, could you repeat what you said to my servant? And that's when Bishr fell on his face crying, saying, I'm a slave, I'm a slave, I'm a slave, and I want to be a slave. The khashya came back to his heart. Later on, when Bishr became famous and well known, and they used to ask him, why is it that you always walk barefooted? He said, because I fixed my bond and my khashya with Allah barefooted, running after that man, and I always want to remember that, and I want to meet Allah barefooted like that. The reward for khashya is forgiveness from Allah. And a great reward on top of that. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. Those who have khashya will get forgiveness and have a great reward from Allah. That great reward is Jannah. Khashya grants you Jannah and saves you from hell. In the surah that you all know, إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. In another verse, in another surah, من خشي الرحمن بالغيب وجاء بقلب منيب ادخلوها بسلام ذلك يوم الخلود لهم ما يشاءون فيها ولدينا مزيد. Surah Qaf. You're told to enter Jannah in salam. Enter Jannah in salam. Why? من خشي الرحمن بالغيب. Because of your khashya. وجاء بقلب منيب. Ibn Abbas قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول عينان لا تمسهم النار. عين بكت من خشية الله وعين باتت تحرس في سبيل الله. In Sunnah Tirmidhi, Ibn Abbas said, the Prophet ﷺ said, two eyes will not touch hellfire. One that stayed up guarded in the path of Allah, and the second one that shed a tear in the khashya of Allah. Keep in mind, khashya is a heart ibadah. It's a heart ibadah. But its effects are shown on the limbs. It has an effect on your body parts. Ali ibn Umar al-Bazzar, in his Al-A'lam al-Aliyah fi Manaqib Ibn Taymiyyah, in a book he wrote about Ibn Taymiyyah, he said when Ibn Taymiyyah used to say Allahu Akbar, it would blow the minds of the people seeing it. Because of the khushu' and khashya he had when he said Allahu Akbar. He took it serious. Okay, I guess the time is up. Inshallah, we'll continue next week. And I believe the next one is Al-Inaba. We'll talk about Al-Inaba. Jazakum Allah khair. There's not time for questions this week. We'll see you bi'idhnillah next week. Jazakum Allah khair. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.